everybody, welcome to another episode of Real People Real Estate, where we sit down right here in Western Massachusetts with real people doing awesome things in real estate. And today I'm joined by an amazing guest, Heather Ferrari with Raveis Real Estate. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I am good. How are you?
Good. It's Friday. It's the summer. It's,
It is the summer.
Another season of craziness. We were kind of just saying we're all over the place, but it's fun.
It is. Its spring market is very late this year.
Yeah.
It feels really intense for June.
Yeah, interesting. Let's dive into that. So you have been in Amherst off and on, grew up here, right? Came back. So expert positioning really as a Amherst real estate agent and also Greater Western Mass. But you mentioned spring market and that it's later. So what do you mean by that?
So typically we see spring market in Amherst and Western Mass starting, I would say February, March, when we have more of a mild winter.
I was going to say when the snow melts.
Yeah, when people want to go outside. This year, it just, and who knows, there's so many factors to the real estate market. We are in such an academic calendar here in Western Mass because of the colleges, a lot of families, things like that. People want to be in place for school years. For the school, year to start. So yeah, it was kind of slow.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in mid-May, which tends to be a little quieter because people are distracted with graduations
right.
and Mother's Day and all the things in May. And then June, it's just like nonstop phone calls. We need to get our house on the market. And it's a lot of people who are like moving very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It's funny how the snow impacts things.
It
you
is.
think we're all used to it living here, right?
Right.
But
this was a big winter,
that
more than we normally have.
Yeah.
And then, the so many things are into play, as you know, being in your line of the field too, like of why how the market is affected, either with interest rates or weather or economy or politically, there's so many different factors.
There's a lot going on. Yeah, absolutely.
But it is a busy June.
Well, hey,
for everybody.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. So, so you born and raised in Amherst, correct? And your family had a restaurant? Tell me about the restaurant.
My family had a very beloved restaurant in downtown Amherst, across from Town Hall, called Nancy Jane's. My mom's Nancy Jane.
Okay.
I grew up in a family. There were 4 kids, so 6 of us.
Wow.
My dad ran the hospitality department at UMass towards the end of his 30-something years there, and was a professor all the way through. So a lot of food, restaurant people in my life, and education.
Yep.
A lot of my siblings are, 2 of my siblings are in education. My dad and my mom but she was more of a stay-at-home mom, part-time work, lots of volunteering for the older 2 kids. But when it came time for me and my brother, because there's big age spans between us, she opened a restaurant.
Wow.
So that was a really interesting way to grow up.
Yeah.
Like your mom picking you up in a catering van from school, in middle school, and you're like, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And we all worked since we were 12.
I was going to ask if you did you work in that business?
Yes, very early on.
Okay.
And so that experience just was really amazing, working with my family, and also just getting really entrenched in Amherst and knowing these people are, here to look at Amherst College, or there's a UMass graduation day, and just getting really involved with the community,
of the whole community,
townies, everything. And so why I bring this, you brought it up, but what's interesting is in all of my appointments, 90% of them, a lot of the people that end up calling me is not necessarily someone I know, but someone who maybe recommended me.
Some connection.
And then at some point, I'll say my maiden last name, which is Latuka, and be like, and my family had Nancy Jane's restaurant. And they will go on and on about the restaurant. And my mom is in her 80s now, so I get to tell her these things, and it brings her a lot of joy, because that was a really important part of their life.
Yeah. So then you moved to New York and Boston. So that must have been a big shift for you to make that decision to go to a city for a little while.
Yeah,
what was that like?
I love cities. Well, when we were younger, every so often my family would go to New York to see a show, and everybody would be like, "Oh, it's so good to be home," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? I want to live there." From 8 years old. So the day after I graduated, I went to UMass with a theater degree. I went to New York City. Actually, the day after I graduated, I did a theater tour for almost a year, and then moved to New York City and lived there for 13 years. Met my husband there. We had our first baby there. Did the whole acting waiting tables between jobs, like crazy, traveling for regional theater thing.
Yeah.
And as I got like into my late 20s, early 30s, it's like hard. The rejection you get used to, it's a lot of rejection. But what's hard is the hours are really hard, especially once you are just like older and you don't want to be gone every single night.
Right.
And there's no flexibility.
Right.
It's a show. Like you have to be there.
Yeah.
So I shifted and it's random, but I got into the wine and spirits industry in Manhattan and was a wine and spirits salesperson.
Wow.
Didn't know what I was doing. They hired me. They're like, we have no idea why we're hiring you, but because of your restaurant background,
you have a background. I can see why.
Yeah, like you're married to a chef. Like you'll be able to figure it out. So I was like, okay. So I was like meeting with like, I mean, it was so hard. Like meeting with sommeliers who know every single thing about wine.
Yeah.
Just like, it's very intimidating.
Wow.
And like learning as I go and just like being up every night until 12 or 1, like learning and
so
just
you still
meeting
had
people.
Crazy hours.
Yep, crazy hours. But it was great. It was really great. I was in that industry for 6 years. We moved to the Boston area.
Was that you were still in the wine?
I was still in the wine.
Industry.
Yep.
Okay.
And it was different in Boston because then I was doing off-premise, which is like liquor stores.
Yeah.
And whereas in New York, I was just doing restaurants, hotels, bars, which was awesome. When I came here, I was doing more stores, and that's just a different thing. And then I had a boss I had a second baby, and I had a boss who was really not supportive of me being a mother, and I was in a very male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
So it was really hard.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I cannot continue doing this.
Yeah.
So I knew I had a bonus coming. So I planned it out to know that I was going to take my younger son out of daycare, and I was going to be home, and I was going to get my real estate license. So that's what I did.
What turned you on to real estate?
What turned me on to real
Or
estate? Good question. And I think this is so cool, and I hope that this can happen for others because it was so amazing. So my husband was a chef. I was a theater person. Like we didn't have a lot of money to buy a house. And with our like group of friends in New York, like no one's buying homes. It's not, it's so much money, and it's so hard to save. And when we moved to Boston, my husband literally called a realtor off of a sign in Cambridge. And he was like, I called this guy, Ed Grable, from Keller Williams. And we should meet with him. He thinks we should meet with him. He doesn't think we can afford Cambridge. I'm like, well, no kidding. So we sat down with Ed, and this realtor who had a lot of experience in the area, and went through all of our stuff. And he's like, I think you guys can buy a house, probably in Waltham. And I'm like, I'm not living in Waltham. I didn't even know what Waltham was. I was like a city person. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So he hooked us up with a lender, and they ran our numbers, and I'm still in touch with her to this day. So anyway, we found a house, and we were paying $2,800 a month in Cambridge, and our mortgage with PMI, taxes and insurance, was $2,100.
Wow.
And we sold that house for over $100,000 more a few years later.
Yeah.
And then we're moving to Amherst to be closer to my parents.
Yeah.
But it was so amazing because for us, it was such a good financial decision.
Yeah.
Like we were paying, like even monthly, we were paying so much less.
Right.
So we were able to afford the mortgage really easily
Yeah.
and save more. So when it came time for the second house, when we sold, it was just easier. And I was a really tough buyer, actually. Looking back, I was very stressed out because we paid $10,000 over, and I could not let that go for like a year. And Ed was kind of in touch with me, and he's like, "Have you thought about real estate?" And I'm like, "Yes, I have." And we were, but then I ended up going with Remax, and with this guy I met at like a fair in downtown Waltham, and was there for a year. Gary Rogers, who's wonderful at Remax, and I didn't make any sales my first year. So I was paying like $25 an hour for a babysitter.
Yeah.
I just left a really good career in the wine and spirits industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, then I joined a team, and it was great. It was
And
great.
this was when you were living in Eastern Mass?
Yes.
Still.
So very entrenched in the Cambridge market for a while.
Wow.
And that was great. That was like awesome and hard, and I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
How do you think your restaurant background translates to your real estate? I mean, did you find you were pulling a lot of that, maybe customer service?
Yeah, I think a lot. Yes, I think
hours?
I look at it as a customer service
Yeah.
thing. So as I'm bringing agents, onto the team, like a sense of empathy and customer service and kindness is really, really important to me.
Yeah.
And then the wine and spirits, the sales part really helps with my negotiating, and like I have no problem asking for things. So that's really helpful. And then the acting stuff and restaurant stuff is just like people.
Right.
You're around so many different types of people, and you just, it's about like reading them and listening to them. And
so and I would think from the acting and everything, just your marketing and creativity and just bringing in different aspects too, it all comes together. So did you end up buying in Waltham?
We did.
So after saying you didn't want to live there, you ended up,
that's where we ended up buying.
Okay.
Buying, I just said. That's where we ended up buying. And we bought it was a $300,000 house, high $300,000 house. And then it was 1,000 square feet. We loved it there. And we sold it. My parents were getting older. Well, everybody's getting older every day. I'm like, that saying is weird, but they, are in their 80s, and we decided that we were going to move back to my hometown, which was never anything I'd ever thought of doing.
Yeah. When was that?
That was in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mom grew up in Amherst also, so born and raised in Amherst. So the Amherst thing is kind of a thing because there's just a lot of family history.
Right.
I have 2 aunts that live in Amherst. There's just a lot of.
Yeah.
It's been really nice to reconnect with a lot of people from my past.
Yeah. How do you think that helps in the real estate business?
I think it helps with my comfort level of talking about the town and like the really deep like parts of the town, and like what to promote when I'm working with sellers, what to talk about with buyers, and how all these towns are so different from each other, and trying to get their vibe and like where would be a great place for them to live. Because the last thing you want is to sell a house to somebody and have them not be happy with the community. And the communities are really different here. Yeah. So just
there's a lot of different
piece,
pockets.
Yep. And I feel really confident with that knowledge and just understanding of the different just ways that towns and cities work around here.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like with your start doing real estate in a city and then coming out here, do you feel like that gives you an advantage as well, or any skills that you're bringing in that are maybe different?
I do. I think here, it's so different here. It's the same state, so I was really lucky because all of the rules are the same. I have worked with a lot of people from Boston who've sent people here too, which is great. A lot of like referral stuff. And in terms of my experience in the city, I do think I don't really take things personally because there's just a lot of us realtors, and if someone wants to work with me, that's awesome. There's a lot of great choices. It's not like, there's lots of great realtors out there in this area. So I think, not taking things personally, also negotiating skills. I was moved here in 2021. So during the pandemic, it was, and Boston was always really competitive. Yeah. It was like 20 offers, sometimes 50 offers. Coming out here, the Amherst area, Western Mass was not used to that. That's what I gathered. Level of competition. So there were many
20 offers on one place before the pandemic.
So like
maybe 2 or 3, but
exactly. So and on the team I was at in Cambridge, I was a buyer's agent only. Okay. So that was really helpful because I felt really good about like my buyer's agent skills because that's all I had done. I didn't focus. I never did a listing until I came back this way. So I think too, just knowing how to craft an offer and being creative again with how are we going to get this noticed? What can I do to get my client's offer accepted for the lowest price possible? And still make it really attractive for the seller. So I do think a lot of that competitiveness really helped out here.
Absolutely transferred. And then you have all of your connections too from growing up in the area.
Yeah, from growing up in the area. And what's interesting too is in the thing that's really different here is in the Boston area, you never really work with the same agent twice. At least I didn't. Yeah. Because it's just, people are looking at a lot, it's just different. It's a lot more inventory. Out here, you tend to work with a lot of the same people. So those relationships are also really important, I think, just to be kind to each other, work together.
Yeah, that is one thing that I think is such an interesting aspect of doing real estate, especially in a more hometown market, is
Yep.
you're basically always playing nice in the sandbox with people who you're also potentially competing against, right, for other listings or other buyers. But yet you have to always be collaborating. So I think it keeps, at least I do feel the same in our area, that people generally really get along well together and want to work together to keep the community moving forward. So.
I agree. And I think the people that feel that way are the ones that are really successful, because I'm genuinely happy when I see other people get busy.
Yeah.
I am. I that is true. It's like, I'm not like, even if it's a listing that I've been up for
within
too.
your niche.
Yes, I think I've been doing this long enough now. I'm just like, good for them.
Yeah.
But maybe 5 years ago, it's like, it's a pit in your stomach. You're like, oh, what did I do wrong? Or like, and I still self-reflect with that, but it's also like, course. It's good for that person to get something good.
Well, and you really grew from, I mean, I was trying to remember the year, but 2021 you'd said. And I think even though you're from here, it still takes a lot to work your way into a small market as well.
Very much so.
Very much.
And I was a buyer here.
Yeah. Okay.
In 2021, meeting all the agents. I was a stressed out buyer.
Yeah.
And my husband was a really tough client. Like we were like losing out on offers.
You're
and
your
I
best
would call
test
him.
Case.
I know. And I'm like, we didn't get it. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, honey, we didn't get the offer.
Yeah.
There was a higher offer than ours.
Right.
And I'm like,
how do I
I'm like, can you please stop making me feel worse about this?
Yeah,
like, you're my client, you're also my husband, and also this is hard for me.
Okay, so you came in for your own house here, representing yourself.
Yes, as we're moving. Yeah. And now I'm like looking and meeting all these agents and being like, I'm a great buyer and also an awesome agent, but do you even want me in this market? I have no idea.
Yeah, it is tricky. So what do you think, because not everybody can do what you did, right? Not everybody comes into a small market like ours and, takes off, and you really have. What worked?
I mean, I think I'm really fortunate. Like, I think I tend to have a lot of really great clients. I do. Like, when I look at who I've been able to meet and work with over the past 5 years, I feel really, really lucky.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of the business comes in through referrals. I also think I've been really lucky to have listings in really good places where my sign is seen a lot. So I do get a lot of calls from signs, which I never knew was going to be that piece of it. I mean, 75% of my business the first year I started being busy was open houses. Yeah. That's like, so doesn't happen now. Yeah. Like, it's weird. That's not where the business is coming from. So I think, I don't know, I'm not a realtor that is going to, this is not all I want to talk about. Like when I'm at my kids' sports games and stuff, like I really am there to like watch my kids. Yeah. And I've talked to other agents who are like, you're at the best stage of your life. Like, I was making deals on the sidelines, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that. That's I like to. As you know, you can't really turn it off in this industry. Yeah. I am kind of always available. But sometimes I noticed someone the other day was like, we don't have to talk about this anymore. I'm like, no, it's fine. Yeah. Just a couple more minutes, and then like, but I can't. It's just. Well, it's a lifestyle type career. Yeah. But I think boundaries sometimes attract your tribe, right? They say about that's true. Exactly. I mean, I think there's certain. That's so true. And you want to work with people who you want to work with, right? And you want them to work with you. So I think that, even though maybe you're saying, I don't want to talk about real estate on the sidelines, maybe they don't want to either, right? I think that's an important piece of the puzzle. So that's such a good point. Yeah. I feel like you do attract your tribe, and I think that when you're first starting out, it's really hard. Like, I remember how I used to work the first few years. You're just any little, anyone that calls you, you're like running. And I'm like, I cannot believe. Like, I think the boundaries come naturally. Also, like, not getting so emotionally. I remember I've never had a sleeping issue, but the first listing I had in Amherst was a big downtown listing that I was like, I can't believe they chose me. Like, I knew the other realtors I was up against, and we just really connected. And they're still clients of mine. They're awesome. But it was funny. We were not seeing eye to eye on the pricing. And I could not sleep the night before I listed it. I was like, oh my gosh, did I steer them the wrong way? I even brought Jerry Jones in to meet with them a second time. And he was like, no, you're spot on with the pricing. And I'm like, it was just, but now it's like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm listening to their needs. Right. This is what I think. Yeah. We're working together, and then the market's going to tell us. Yeah. It's and sometimes mistakes are made. Right. But pricing, I feel like, Yeah, that's a hard part of the
You
job.
can trust your process.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And that comes with experience.
It does.
Sure,
It
right?
does.
And the more you do it, yeah,
And a shifting
absolutely.
market's challenging because you're looking at comps and you're like, okay, and we have a lot of inventory right now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what do you think is the biggest challenge right now?
I think the biggest challenge right now is pricing, and also like the condition of a house. The homes that are in really good, and not just house, condos too, multifamilies, whatever. Condition is really important. So if you're at a certain price point, whatever that is in the spectrum of pricing, your property needs to look a certain way for you to get this price.
Yeah.
If not, we can price it lower if we can't do those
Sure.
things to make it look that way. But I think that's hard right now.
Yeah.
And the very high end can sometimes be challenging. Although last year it was in Amherst, but it was really booming in Northampton.
Interesting.
This year, Amherst, the higher end is actually moving. It's like the over $1 million stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, and that goes back to just how each town is kind of
So
its
different.
own little area out here with a completely
Yes.
different market. They're like micro markets.
They
within.
are. They really are. And that's why, and even like what's so great about a lot of the realtors here, it's like, yes, I sell in Easthampton. I've had listings in Easthampton, but obviously if you look at different realtors, you know, what they're doing, some of us tend to be in very similar towns a lot. Amherst being mine. So Easthampton, when I'm trying to figure out pricing, and then I may have not been in all those Easthampton properties when they were in the market, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't know how many offers they got.
Right.
So there's agents I can call who are not even in my brokerage that I can call and be like, hey, can you help me out with this? And then they call me for Amherst stuff too. It's great. And I'm happy to tell them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have some intel on that one, what happened
Yeah.
with that, and then we can help each other, which
Yeah.
is nice because they are real like micro markets.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's another example of collaboration, which is huge. So if you were going to give a buyer advice in this market, what would it be?
In this market right now?
Today, if someone called you and said, I want to look at a house this weekend.
Okay, I would say, what is your timeline like right now? Because we are in the most competitive time of the market right now.
Yeah.
So you have to move very quickly. And I don't know if you're someone that is looking to move really quick, or if you don't want any kind of pressure, multiple offer situation. I just had new prospective clients, buyers reach out last week, and in the email they had said that they don't want to be in a bidding war. So like, we'll have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Like bidding wars right now are very common,
Right.
but if you wait a little bit longer, typically we don't see that as much July and August around the holidays.
Yeah.
You know, it's house specific or
Sure.
property specific, but I would say that, and to be very prepared, you need to have your pre-approval set.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people start looking at homes before they have a pre-approval, but they need a pre-approval.
Because that's the fun part, right?
I
Looking
know.
at the houses.
Of course.
Not crunching
well,
the
some
number.
people like it as a hobby 3
Right.
years later. And
Right,
I'm like, okay,
exactly.
everybody, like
Right.
this is a lot.
Oh yeah, scrolling at 3 a.m. through the property.
I'm just like, yes. So get your pre-approval, or your proof of funds needs to be like ready.
Solid.
And then not looking at house, this is a hard conversation sometimes to have with people because I don't want them to take it the wrong way, but not seeing properties that are over your budget or close to the top of what you want to spend. Because let's just let that house or whatever sit for a while instead of looking at it right away. Because we don't want to get into a situation, first of all, where you're now comparing houses to a house that's out of your reach.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I
Right.
don't like that. It's not, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Where
yeah,
people will do
yeah.
that and they're like, but remember that one?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was $100,000
Right.
over your budget.
Right. Right.
Like that
That's a great
wasn't,
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, and it's not, I always say too, it's not a waste of my time. This is what I do. I'm seeing homes
Right.
all the time.
Right.
But it's not really a good, it's not a good process. It's not a good way to kind of educate yourself on the market for the buyer. And also that comparison thing is not good.
You're protecting their psyche basically by doing
Yeah,
that, which
I
is
am.
huge.
I try.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. I like that.
Own
Wow,
that.
protecting a psyche. That's pretty good.
Well, really, I think that the real estate side or the realtor side of the puzzle, you get into so much more of the psychological side of it too.
We do. There's a lot of people that are part of a real estate transaction. There's the lender, there's the attorney, there's the home inspector, the brokerage. And the real estate agent is typically the one who spends the most time with them, of course, because it can take a very long time to find a home. You're in homes, you're talking about their life.
In confined spaces, in the car, in the house.
Right, exactly. We're in spaces like, this is where, like yesterday, someone said to me, oh, just want you to know, my husband and I don't sleep in the same room, so we really need two really good bedrooms.
All their details.
Right, I know every little thing about everybody's life. And when other people start coming in to the transaction, like the home inspector or the attorney that haven't had that, or someone's going through a divorce, or they just had a really horrific death in their family, and it's like, wow, they're a little moody. It's like, well, yeah, they are. They are moody. They're going through a really hard time.
Right.
So I think, yes, you do learn a lot, and it's good. It's good to. It's not like you're telling these other people what's been going on with your clients, but you just sometimes are like, hey, just be a little sensitive to them, you know, because you want them to feel like the team. We're not a team, right? All of us, but like you want them to feel that the people who are working on this with them are like have the same goal, and we're all trying to, you know.
Yeah. You mentioned that in your bio, actually, that oftentimes you're helping people through, of course, a big milestone, right? Some change, or buying a house, I mean, is the milestone. Do you have any success stories, anything that stands out in your mind that was a time where you felt maybe like you really advocated for someone or kind of had their best interest in mind? And
I think actually the closing I had this week in Easthampton was, we've been looking for, so this was a family who was in one town, and they changed schools to a private school out this way. And so we've been looking for a while because they love their house that they're in now. So we've been looking for a couple of years for like the perfect place that was in walking distance of this new school.
Yeah.
And it needed to be a certain thing. So we were trying everything because nothing was coming on the market. I was doing a lot of social media posting, talking about them, phone calls. And then we did rounds of letters. So finally I was like, can you send me a list of like houses that pique your interest? Just take a drive around, send me a spreadsheet. And so we made a letter that said, I have great clients, and I've done this before. I have great clients who like your house. It was very like house specific.
Yeah.
And if you're ever thinking of selling, let us know. So it was funny. This house came on the market, and we had just sent the letter, and it came on the market like 3 days later.
Yeah.
So I had a bit of a panic because I was like, first of all, I hope that listing agent does not think I was stepping on her toes, because I was not like my clients truly love this house. So it was a multiple offer type situation. And when the offers were presented, the sellers were like, are these the people?
We know that,
because it's Heather. Is that the same people? And she was like, yes. And they're like, they love your house. And so they got it, and they closed yesterday. So I feel like
awesome.
Just, good. The little things like that bring a lot of happiness. Or my other one was selling a house this year for $125,000 in Irving.
Wow.
I worked with someone who had a smaller budget for the area and bought a home in a nice area with a yard for $125,000 here.
Yeah.
So
That's
just
amazing.
things like that. Yeah. And I had found that one for her.
I was going to say, I think you posted a video about that where you were saying
did a podcast with her,
about,
The tiny house.
Oh,
Amy.
yes. Oh my gosh, amazing. Yeah. Oh, Amy's wonderful.
Yeah, she is.
And I don't know if it was around the same time or not, but I think you had posted a reel, and you were just talking about the area and how you can go from a house that, as you just mentioned, is $125,000 in Irving to, walking into your next house and it's a $2 million listing appointment.
That's what's cool about here.
Yeah.
I think which was hard transitioning from Boston to here, is really you can do 20 transactions a year in Boston and have a very comfortable living. Out here, when I started researching the top realtors out here, I was like, oh my gosh, some of these people are doing 50 to 80 transactions a year. I'm like, how? And they don't have a team.
Right.
So that was really tripping me up, because I'm thinking, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I know I do not have the bandwidth for that.
Yeah.
Because the prices are so different here. And you see a lot of the top realtors, they'll have a $2 million house and they'll have a $200,000 thing. And you're like, why are they? But it's because you want, a lot of us, I'm sure, feel this way. I know I do. I get a lot of joy and satisfaction out of working with people at a lot of different times of their lives, and also financial situations. Like the 125 was really exciting for me this year.
Right.
That was great.
That's
and it's
a huge
also
find.
awesome to sell really high-end houses too, and
Yeah.
maybe they bought it for less than that and fixed it
Right.
up, and now they've really built a lot of equity,
Right.
and that's
They
their
have their
retirement
success story.
plan.
Yeah, that's huge.
So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, as we wrap up, when you think about Amherst, anything that you want our listeners and viewers to know as far as like the best coffee spots, shops, anyone you want to give a
gosh.
shout out to?
Oh.
What are your like must-haves if someone were to call you and say, I want to tour Amherst? Where would you tell them to check out?
I would tell them to definitely go to the Emily Dickinson Museum.
Okay,
So
that was not the first thing that I thought you were going to say. That's awesome.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
So
Spoken like a true local.
Yes, well, it's like being a tourist in your own town. I had never gone there growing up.
Yeah.
So the first time I went was last year, and I've been 3 times. They do guided tours.
Wow.
You get a different tour guide every time. They are
Yeah.
so entrenched in the knowledge of Emily Dickinson and the family, and it's so
That's awesome.
And now the Evergreens is open, which
Yeah.
is a home
Okay.
that was her brother's and her
Oh.
best friend Sue's, that is in original condition.
Wow.
It's so cool.
Wow.
Yes.
Is that right next
Yes,
door?
it's
Okay.
right next door.
I'm
So now when you do
picturing
the
it
tour, you do both.
Yeah.
We have really great coffee shops. I love Share Coffee, which we also have in Northampton. Do they
Yep.
have another location? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I think they might. And Amherst Coffee. And
Yeah.
Amherst Coffee has great cocktails.
Yeah.
And we are local. It's kind of funny, but my husband's a culinary teacher,
Yeah.
but former chef. So we really like food. And we like Protocol.
Oh,
Protocol's
yeah,
great. That's like
fun.
our local spot with the boys. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a little fancy, but
Yeah.
it's
Why not?
nice. It's not fancy.
You gotta
it's
teach 'em
just,
right.
Yeah. And just walking around downtown, we have so many great shops. The Toy Box, Xana. There's so many wonderful shops, and you
Yeah.
can just the Amherst Common has been reimagined. They took some of the parking away, which upset some people, but it's beautiful there now. And it was originally designed by the same person who designed Central Park.
Oh, wow.
In New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun fact. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and there's lots of live music outside in Amherst. Our farmers
Amazing.
market is awesome on
Yeah.
Saturdays. It's a really special farmers market. And last thing, you can eat in the dining commons at UMass.
UMass.
At UMass, and we go there, and you can. And it's hilarious. I'm like alumni, because I think you get a little discount if you're a UMass alum.
okay. Yep.
I always try for discounts and coupons. And
it's
they have
all
a
you can
sushi
eat,
bar,
right? Yeah.
and it's all you can eat. So,
So
it's
what
great with
could
the
be
kids.
better?
The kids love it. They're closed right now. How do I know this? I do. Until June 15th. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Well, our viewers and listeners have their entire weekend plan now to
I
go to
know, it's
Amherst
true.
and do the whole thing. Thank you, Heather, for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, too.
And thank you to everybody for tuning in, listening, watching Real People Real Estate. This is coming up on the end of our first season, our first year. So we have a couple more episodes. Be sure to tune in. And if you want to be a guest, make sure you let me know. We'll see you soon.